have two different coffees?
No, because it's a side shot.
We'll see.
And then when I do this. All right, we're rocking.
Let's roll.
All right, welcome to the Cam and Joe Show. My name is Joe with my good buddy Cameron.
What's up, big dog?
You know, man, it's been great.
Happy Thursday.
I know, man. Okay, so before we continue, like, subscribe, hit the bell. We're going to be talking about some heavy topics today. Some heavy stuff is happening in the country.
Yes,
heavy
it
stuff's
has.
happening in Cali. I'd like to make it all light and airy, but I feel like if we don't talk about it, we're going to be like, why don't we talk about
Yeah,
it?
I agree. Missed opportunity.
So what are we supposed to not be talking about, Kevin?
What are we not supposed to be talking about? I don't know. I think what's on everyone's mind right now nationally is what happened with the Republican, not the RNA, the
RNC.
The RNC. No, outside of that, the assassination attempt on Donald Trump.
Yeah, absolutely.
On Mr. 4-5.
So your thoughts on it, man?
What are my thoughts? It's just awful. It's terrible that it happened. You never want to see that on any side of the line, right? I don't care if you're left, blue,
it doesn't
left,
matter.
right, red or blue. It doesn't matter. Absolutely, positively shouldn't have happened, right?
Sure.
Beyond that, when you kind of start to peel back the layers, you're not trying to be a conspiracy theorist and throw on a foil hat, but I've got a lot of questions.
Well,
right?
everyone,
when you're looking at like it's something as simple as when the head of security, they were saying, well, we couldn't guard the roof because the pitch was too high. Yet you look across the yard and the snipers are up on the
other roof.
That's the exact same pitch.
Yeah.
So it's like, stop, right? So you start to scratch your chin.
Sure.
And I hate that it's not conclusive. I hate that I have to question it. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, I think it doesn't. What's the best way to put it? I think the whole situation was, I'm happy that he survived. I'm happy everything.
Absolutely.
It's an awful, awful thing. People literally died.
Yeah.
And
Correct.
dude, the photographer who took that picture, he deserves the award for best photo of the year.
Fight.
Oh my gosh,
photo with
incredible.
the blood and the American flag. You're like,
so
oh my
good.
gosh, yeah.
I said, but
where are my
my
shoes?
concerns,
Let me get my shoes.
Yeah, as much as those questions are scary, my concerns aren't those questions.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, think of like the JFK assassination.
Yeah.
There's thousands of theories still out there.
Still,
people have been
all
looking
these
at that,
decades
trying
later.
to figure it out.
Decades later.
My biggest concern is it's almost psychotic how people are treating the situation.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, you missed? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you like them or not.
It's disgusting.
Like, I may not be
You're Jack Black's Tenacious D band.
yeah.
Yes. What did you ask for Santa for the next shooter to not miss? I'm like, oh, and I thought to myself, Jack Black as an actor.
Yep.
I hope you come out and speak out against it.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, the next day he said, hey, that completely caught me off guard.
Sure.
I don't want any harm
Yeah.
to any candidate.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, they canceled the rest of their tour. So
well,
I'm like,
they canceled for creative purposes,
Wow.
but I also know that because that was in Australia.
yeah.
And
correct.
they were threatened to be deported if they continued because of hate speech.
Wow.
Because the United States is the only country without hate speech laws.
Way to be Australia. Let's go.
So, I mean,
I love them down there.
to me, it's just
it's
scary in that thought that there's that division and that divide. And I think that the olive branch has to be given out on both sides. And
agree.
I think that there has been things that have been said, on one side and the other that have just polarized the situation.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lack of empathy from the Republican Party and there's been a lack of empathy from the Democratic Party.
Hugely. Hugely.
And
yeah, I hear of friends that are hoping that Joe Biden trips down the stairs every time he's on a flight of stairs. And then you're like, okay, well now we're in a spot where we're so callous, we're wishing ill on other Americans.
yeah.
We got to check our souls a little bit, right?
Well, because there is no accountability for, and I hear people
For what
going,
we
hey,
say.
we need to censor, hey, we need to do this stuff. Well, freedom of speech is good.
Correct.
But you're held accountable. If I go into a public theater and I yell fire and there's no fire and people get hurt,
Correct.
yelling fire was not against the law. Every person that got hurt because of my act,
Correct.
now I'm responsible for each one of those separately.
Correct.
So the internet, it's a wild, wild west. There are no limitations. There's no open. And I'm a huge, freedom of speech is absolutely amazing. Let's go. I don't want to put those rules up. But there has to be consequences for actions
I totally agree.
from some type of platform. platform. I don't think it should be democratically. I don't think it should be constitutionally.
Yeah.
But I do think it's like, hey,
What does that look like? What is that? What does rolling that out actually look like?
I don't know. Well,
Yeah, I don't know that there's a right answer there.
Well, I mean, we're already seeing it, and there's plenty of people right now losing their jobs for saying, "Hey, I wish ill on X, Y, and Z." People have lost their jobs from that.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna bat an eye on that, but
Yeah.
it is almost hypocritical because if the guy that you're voting for gets shamed, then now you're gonna get in trouble. But if the guy that you like, you know what I mean? To me, it's still so polarizing in that situation.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It's
when you start to pull the layers back, it just gives you just kind of like a kind of a yucky feeling, right? Because then you start to look not at, okay, what has this candidate or this president-elect done? What did they do with their 4 years? It's instantly just look what the other put you through.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
And you're never in a great spot if in coffee.
Yeah.
If people asked you about your coffee and you instantly started talking about smearing Starbucks and Dutch Brothers, right?
No,
or if
it's
somebody
bad.
asked me about lending, and before I talk about what I do with my
Let me tell
team,
you
I'm
how
starting
bad-
to knock all the other lenders. But that's where we are. Politically, that's exactly where we are. You ask about, hey, a policy question, essentially like, well, the other guy, and that, not that it's new to us, right?
No.
That's how debates go. They're quicker to be like, well, with the other guy this or with the other guy that. It's gross where our political parties are.
I agree.
It's drawing more people, more level-headedness to pull to the center.
Yeah.
And I think in the center is where we need to be, because in the center, that's stability, that's level-headedness. That's where you can have a conversation and say, hey, let's have a conversation about how you feel about this, not just, I feel like this. Why? Well, because my parents taught me to feel like this, right? Let's get together.
Well, and you are going to be your parent's son, no matter, or son or daughter, no matter what you do. That is just part of who you are. I think that, with the attempt and everything that happened, like I took a moment and kind of was like, whoa. And then I found myself on the phone on my phone listening to it, whatever I could, because I was like, what is going on? Is he okay? Is he safe? How bad was it? I was genuinely concerned. I wanted to know.
Did you see the video from the hospital after Trump, it's shot from a medical professional's phone of the car that Donald Trump rolled up into, and they're like, yeah, I heard he was shot, and you hear somebody behind the camera saying, oh, dear Jesus, dear Jesus, dear Jesus.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, that's him. He's walking. He's walking.
Yeah.
He's walking.
Yeah.
And the video cuts as they're like bum rushing him, like, oh my gosh, he's alive.
Yeah.
Full body
relief.
Lazarus X like chills. I'm like, just to hear like the dear Jesus, dear Jesus, dear Jesus, the active prayer.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, he's alive. He's
Absolutely.
walking. I was like, whoa. I watched it 3 times. Chills all 3 times. 3 for 3 on the chill factor.
I love that.
But yeah, man, just to move past it, hate that it happened. You never want to see that to happen to anybody. It's a gut check, right? Because Pastor Doug Smith was talking about this a couple weeks ago. Whatever's in your cup is what's going to spill out when you get bumped.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're full of hate, as soon as that happens and somebody says something online or in front of an audience, oh, I wish they would have got him, or next time don't miss, that's what's in your cup.
Yeah.
Or at the same time, if you watch Biden either, like, let's just say, fumble through a sentence or whatever, if you're instantly just going to attack, it's like that's what's in you, man.
That's what's
you don't
in
have you don't have empathy. You don't have you're not level-headed. You're instantly programmed to respond how we'd expect from you to.
And I think that what was encouraging about it when he stood up and he said, fight, 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 was strength.
Yeah.
I mean, Biden's got his own flaws. Trump's got his own flaws.
Absolutely.
But there's been no strength in America for a while.
Yeah.
And so,
That's true.
like you can really go polarizing on whatever. No, people want to feel safe, and a good leader. Like, if he didn't say anything, the panic would have ensued in that location.
Yeah.
When he said that, you just hear everyone cheer, and the temperature was brought down.
Yeah.
And I think that was good leadership.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or not, I think that he's strong.
Yeah.
He's at this point, I'm kind of going, okay, well, the election's really over, because we saw a strong, determinative person going, I want to represent strength.
Yeah.
And we've been lacking that.
Yeah. No,
that's as far as I'm going to go on that hole.
I don't think that's hard to say. And right now, I mean, as we sit here right now, the Democratic Party is in a spot where they're like, Joe, you have COVID. Well, I do. Yeah, and we may need you to have a conversation about possibly backing out, and that's where they're at.
Yeah,
I mean the Republican Party right now is extremely strong.
Yeah,
him having lived that and all of the momentum now.
Yeah.
Versus the other party's just like, oh man, okay, he did survive, and they're kind of scrambling. They truly are. And you'll read, if you turn on CNN right now, they will say that they are, and they're trying to grasp for I think somebody else to lead on the blue side.
Well, see,
I wouldn't be surprised if that
what
comes
I
out
hope
this weekend.
happens is it unifies, because there's fragmentations on all parts. I hope it unifies one group, and if one group is unified and they can bring other people in, it'll get rid of a lot of the intensity. A lot of what we're seeing,
the far left and the far right.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what we see, it's like if you go to a kindergarten and you got kids running around, as soon as that person goes, hey, and the kids stop and kind of like, whoa, what's going on? And then they all go, okay, that's what we need. Yeah. It's more of leadership that's really where it's at. And I don't see, I mean, I wouldn't be if someone's like, hey, do you want to run for Democratic president? I'm all, he just survived an assassination attempt. No, I'll go on another year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
hit me
sick.
in 4 years.
Sorry.
I think we're good. Yeah.
I don't, it's not, look at the time. I totally have to, so I don't,
100%.
I don't see anybody in their career going for anything like that. Yeah. But that leads us into California, because that's where we live.
Yep.
And in California, they just signed in and they're passing a bill, AB 1955. Okay. Now, I'm only mentioning this as a parent.
Why does it have to be 1955? That's the Disneyland
No,
year.
November 5th, 1955, bro, is when we went back in time.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I like your style.
I like that one a little
your
better.
style. There you go.
So the bill itself,
Great Scott.
the bill itself, what it does is it creates a separation from school and home.
Correct.
Okay, so
based on gender identity,
going off of your gender identification. If you're at home and your name is Susie, and you're at school and you want to be called Bill, school will call you Bill. Never tell your parents that you're called Bill at school. And then
block it from
them. So the issues that I have on this, okay,
I've got a couple.
I've got a lot of issues. Well, to me, it's the same debate. Remember, I think I mentioned this to you when we were on the phone. But when we were kids, there was a bill being passed of, hey, teachers giving aspirin to kids, and it was a big deal. It was like, hey, don't give. I mean, I remember being in 4th grade, and it was like, if you're getting aspirin, you're going to the office. The office is calling the parent. The parent is giving permission to the office. The office then will give it.
Sure.
And they're like, we just want to get past this. Let's give them some aspirin.
Yeah.
Well, when I was a kid, I was
Slippery
like,
slope.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just, if I have a headache, give me the aspirin. Yeah. Well, now as a parent, I'm going, don't give my kid something.
Don't give my kid the aspirin.
That I don't want, right? And then it escalated, and I think I was in 8th grade. I think we were both in 8th grade. And it was when they're like, hey, we can now a teacher can take a kid for an abortion.
Yeah. And
without the parent knowing. That's a life-changing, life-altering situation. Bro. It's not as simple. It's never as simple. No. That situation is crazy. So it's difficult to be like, oh, that's okay, and subvert the parents. And so now it's like, no, now your kid can have an entire different life, and the parents aren't involved. Yeah, our fatherhood episode, we talk about the statistics of the father in the home and how it benefits. Mm-hmm. If the father doesn't know an issue, how can you fix it?
How can he fix it?
Like, if I have a bank account and I think it's my paycheck is getting put in my bank account, and I think my bank account's good. And every time I check it, okay, cool. Every time I swipe my card, it's good. And then all of a sudden I go to swipe my card and it's like denied. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I just made a couple thousand going into the account.
Yeah.
And then you find out somebody else has the card and they've been charging it up. It's the same way in the relationship.
Same way. Well put too, because you're talking about making a deposit of parental influence and expecting that balance of influence in that person's life to lead them to a certain spot, right? But in the same way, if you don't know about what's going on in that account or what's being withdrawn or what's being added, you have no idea, right? In the same way, oh man, it freaks me out as a parent, right? And part of me wishes my kids wouldn't ever grow up to be school age because there's just so much to that.
Yeah.
Or part of me just wants to fast forward to after school age, right? But right now in the thick of it, like Beck will be in kindergarten
Yeah.
within 2 months, right? So all of those kind of topics are right now at the forefront.
Yeah.
Am I pro anything that puts a divide between parents and kids? Absolutely not. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's an aspirin or gender identity or abortion. I don't care what it is. To the extent of don't give my kid a mother-loving orange Tic Tac unless I know about it.
Yeah.
That's me. And that's the hill I'll probably die on because that's just organically how I feel. So parents are what are best for children. I know that's a counterculture view, but hey, that's where I'm at.
And then so I try to think on the opposite side. I try to think of somebody that just met the kid, just know, like the teacher that's been with this kid for 2 months, 3 months, and goes, oh, I know this kid more than the parent because they're spending more time with them. Cool, sure, yeah, maybe you do. Maybe they've been more vulnerable with you. But part of me goes into this ego. I know you. We've been friends. I love you. Love your kids. I love your family. I would never, being your best friend, hopefully one of them, I would never in good conscience tell you how to be a dad.
No.
And I would never go to your kid without your permission as your best friend and go, hey, man, hey, don't listen to your dad on this. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
So how dare a teacher to do that?
And we've had a relationship for years. Yeah. So to me, it's hypocritical to a huge degree.
No, I totally agree.
And my issues that I have, and everyone says, as a Californian, let me just explain frustration. Everyone says, well, just leave California. Just go to Florida. Just go to Texas. They all have their own issues. Yeah. The grass is always greener on the other side. And just because you have more of a politically charged one way or the other, politics isn't what fixes the nation. It's the heart of the individual. And so I have an issue uprooting my family, saying, hey, kids, say bye to grandma and grandpa. Oh, say bye to your cousins. Oh, say bye. You don't know. And now I'm going to be safe in another city or county.
No state or place is going to save you. It's what can you do for your own family and your own parental influence with your own kids.
And so when people go, hey, just leave California, I'm like, look, you can brag if any storm, no matter where you're at. And guess what? I'm willing to make a stance and go, hey, this isn't okay. Yeah. And it's not okay not because of a religious purpose and not because of, it's literally psychology. It's parenting. Like, tell a mama bear, go mess with a mama bear's cub. And then you lecture that mama bear when she mauls you. Yeah. Don't maul me. It's my right. That bear told me they're prone. No. As you're getting ripped to shreds. Sorry.
Don't do it.
It's not complicated.
No. And knowing I'm thinking of Regina as a mama bear and then Hannah as a mama bear. Oh, dude. And there's just things you do and there's things you don't. And that's on the don't list.
Dude. There's plenty of times where I'll be wrestling with the kids and you're being a little rough. I'm like, okay. And they're like, stop. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Some people would say I'm whipped. Yeah, probably. I gave her the whip and was like, please.
Yep, please. Yeah, I have my own opinion all the time as soon as Hannah allows me to have it. It's wonderful. It's a great relationship.
I wear the pants in the relationship after my wife tells me which ones I'm wearing.
Exactly. It's perfect. Welcome to the club.
So it's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, but I just wanted to clarify some of those things.
I wanted to touch on those two things.
I think it's super important. I think America is in growing pains, and I don't think it's not bad, but I think that as soon as we lose the empathy and compassion of the individual, as soon as we can look at somebody and go, you're just a blank.
Amen.
The phrasing of you're just a blank is literally what started all of the issues that we've had, right?
You're reducing somebody to just X, to just a label.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just being no. We're people, man. If we can meet back in the middle. Well, and then there's a lot of ways to fix the world, but it starts with love and listening.
When I think, a lot of people will start looking at the idea of a spectrum, right? And some people get offended with the idea that love is on a spectrum, that you can love something, you can hate something, it's on the same spectrum. And some people kind of get polarized by that concept. But I think if we realize that we're on a spectrum, at least it's connected.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree.
So
it's on a swing scale, but we're on the scale.
We're on the same scale. Yeah. At least there's equality in the conversation, right? Yeah. If Cameron and I said, hey, man, what do you think of my coffee? And you're like, it's okay. I'm like, oh, okay, what can I do to make it better? You're at least acknowledging that the coffee is in your scale.
Sure.
But if I say, hey, what do you think of the coffee? It's evil.
It's awful. Get it out of here. It's the devil.
Yeah, you're
like,
now creating a moral consensus on something that doesn't need a moral consensus.
Correct.
And I see the issue we
Well
have
put.
with any debate
Well
is
put.
not that if something is good or bad. Like this thing that they're doing with kids, it's bad. I'm not going to go as far to say it's evil because I genuinely think that people mean the best with their intentions.
They do.
But the world is destroyed with people with good intentions because their perspective, they probably don't have kids.
Yeah.
They probably don't know. They have no clue. It could have been from teachers that wish they had kids, and that's a hard place to be in. I've had plenty of people that are heartbroken that they couldn't have kids.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to be like, that person's evil. It's like, no.
Yeah.
No, I think that they genuinely love kids, and I think they genuinely care. The concern that I have is I'm not going to call you evil, but it's a bad idea, right? And so, you know, the assassination attempt, that to me was evil, but that was because we've polarized everything to the point where, well,
you villainized somebody and you try to take out a villain. So if we're talking left versus right, if the left has demonized Donald Trump from his last presidency, with every raid on every property and every tax filing, you're literally creating, for lack of better words, you're putting a target on his head. And then we're surprised when some wild, just poor-minded, bad judgment 20-year-old that only ever knows the scope of 20 years of existence.
And if he's going through TikTok
and everything
and all
he's evil,
yeah.
he's evil, he's evil. Okay, then it's in my moral compass.
Yes.
To do a good thing for society. And then we're like, oh my God, it's terrible. We're like, no, you fed him this whole time. You created him.
It wasn't good and bad. It wasn't I like this, I dislike this. This was moral consensus.
Correct. And you pushed him to do it by feeding him what they did.
So bring the temp down. You know, I always have to self-analyze myself and go, have I said anything to polarize? Have I done anything to do that? I need to be more careful on how I phrase things, on how I treat people. Because in the end, it's easy that if you have people from leadership going, hey, we need to do this, it's the individuals that need to have the conversation.
Yeah.
It needs to be people like you and I that aren't in the politics.
Yeah.
Calling them going, hey, stop.
Yeah.
Because it's polarizing because we're the ones watching it. We're the ones giving them the views.
Correct.
We're the ones buying the product. We're the ones eating the popcorn in the theater. We're not saying, hey, enough's enough. And so it's difficult for me to say it's their fault. No. We all have a little bit of egg on our face. We all have to blame. This assassination attempt was an awakening for us to go, what is it, like you said, what's in the cup when I get bumped? But is that just when I talk politics? Is that when I just talk... Like, what does that look like? And I think that it should be an eye-opening scenario for any individual to go, what am I? Who am I as a person? And do I want hate to be my legacy, no matter who the person is?
I got nothing to say to that, man. That was in conclusion, not that I want to conclude any time together. First off, this cold brew it changed my life. Cheers, brother.
I'm excited, man.
I love you.
I love you too, man.
I think any opportunity that people can peel themselves off of the blue wall or peel themselves off of the red wall and not look at themselves as a Republican or not look at themselves as a Democrat or an independent or whatever, you are not a Republican.
No.
You are Joe.
Yes, exactly.
And I love Joe.
Yeah.
And in the same capacity, if we can get back to bringing humanity back to the other side, then it's not so much, well, them versus us. It's no, we all need to look out for each other, period. No one wants anybody to be assassinated, period. Shame on you if you do.
Yep.
Not a good place to be spiritually, mentally, cognitively. It's not where you want to be.
Yep.
If you're riding that train of, oh man, he missed, got to check yourself. And the other side of that coin, if you're hoping, like they're saying right now that Joe Biden has COVID, if you're hoping that like it takes him out, shame on you as well.
No, absolutely.
Like you have to see both sides of that. So if we can peel ourselves off the wall of blue and red and get back to Joe and Cam and meeting people where they're at, loving them through it. We're all going through stuff.
Yep.
The more we know about what other people are going through, the more empathy we have. The more empathy we have, the more like Jesus we are. And I don't think there's a greater calling out there.
Got nothing to say, man.
That's me. I love you, buddy.
Love you too, man.
Cut!